Sister Wives, thin walls reveal Kody slighted Christine in the bedroom. Sister Wives star Christine Brown Woolley is slamming Kody Brown in the headlines today as her recently released book details many aspects of her life with the man who once had 4 wives. Before Robyn Brown hit the scene, all 3 wives lived in the same house, and today Christine reveals what she heard through thin walls. Sister Wives, intimacy with Kody Brown hurt Christine Brown Woolley. Kody Brown's honeymoon seemed to be a bone of contention among his sister wives' brides. Robyn was swept up in a wind of romance for her 10-day honeymoon. Kody took her to the ocean. But Meri Brown, Janelle Brown, and Christine Brown ended up with uncharted road trips for their honeymoon experience. Christine wrote about her intimate experience with Kody in her new book, Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom. Things in the intimate department weren't good, starting with their first time in bed together on her honeymoon. Christine writes that she cried from the pain. She also conveyed that the sister wives patriarch offered no romance leading up to their honeymoon night. Instead, he just did the deed, and that was it, leaving Christine crying because it hurt. Being her first time, she had nothing to compare this to. And his approach remained the same through her first few years of marriage. But then something happened to make things worse. Christine hears Kody through thin walls. Christine Brown thought that what she experienced with Kody in bed was what most people experienced. But the thin walls in their shared sister wives' house in Utah changed that perception for her. It seemed to make it worse. She overheard Kody in the heat of passion with his other wives through thin walls. Christine writes how she could hear her other sister wives, Meri and Janelle, when they had their bedtime with Kody, and it sounded much different than what she experienced. Christine indicates what she heard left her stunned. She could hear that her sister wives and Kody had actual relationships where they talked and played and enjoyed each other physically. After the first time she had intimacy with Kody, it hurt so much that she didn't do it again for the rest of her honeymoon. While it eventually got better as the years went by, it sounded like a rough start in the bedroom for Kody's third wife. Sister Wives, so much for private time. Through the seasons of Sister Wives, the women all emphasized how they held their nights with Kody as sacred time. And most of all, it was their private time. But now it seems those thin walls didn't allow for total privacy for the other wives and Kody. While this sounds like a slam of Kody Brown's lovemaking, it might even be a bit of an embarrassment for Meri and Janelle. Meri and Janelle thought their time with Kody was private, but apparently that wasn't always the case. Christine got to take in the audio of their intimate time in the bedroom through thin walls. So, it seems a bit of unavoidable eavesdropping revealed to Christine that there was more to bedtime activity than she was experiencing back then. But all is good for Christine today, as she has one man, David Woolley, who only has eyes for her. Introduction: When Silence Speaks Loudest. Christine Brown Woolley's forthcoming memoir, Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom, promises to be one of the most revealing and emotionally layered accounts ever released from the Sister Wives universe. While fans have long suspected that life inside the Brown family's plural marriage was far more painful than what appeared on TLC's cameras, Christine's words confirm a reality that was not just lonely, but quietly devastating. Among the most startling revelations are Christine's descriptions of physical pain during intimacy, emotional neglect from Kody Brown, and the unforgettable trauma of overhearing her husband share affection, laughter, and intimacy with other wives, through the thin walls of their shared home. These moments, invisible to viewers for years, form the emotional backbone of Christine's story and offer a devastating insight into how polygamy, power imbalance, and unmet emotional needs shaped her marriage. This is not simply a story about sex, jealousy, or rivalry. It is a story about dignity, comparison, silence, and survival. Chapter 1: The Honeymoon That Set the Tone. Christine entered her marriage to Kody Brown with faith, devotion, and belief. Raised in a culture that framed plural marriage as sacred and purposeful, she believed her union would be built on mutual respect, emotional safety, and spiritual connection. What she experienced instead on her honeymoon would foreshadow decades of pain. According to Christine, Her first intimate experience with Kody was physically painful and emotionally hollow. Rather than tenderness, reassurance, or care, she recalls Kody approaching intimacy with detachment, going through the motions, as she describes it. There was no romance, no effort to ease her anxiety or discomfort, and no emotional presence. Christine writes that she cried afterward, not out of joy or closeness, but from pain and confusion. That moment matters more than it might seem. First experiences often establish emotional expectations, especially within marriages framed as lifelong spiritual covenants. For Christine, the honeymoon was not the beginning of closeness, it was the beginning of learning that her needs would not be prioritized. Chapter 2: Emotional Neglect Masquerading as Duty. Christine's memoir makes clear that the pain did not end with the honeymoon. Physical intimacy throughout her marriage remained fraught, unsatisfying, and emotionally empty. She describes a pattern in which Kody treated intimacy like an obligation rather than a connection. There were no lingering conversations, no emotional vulnerability, no sense of being cherished. Over time, Christine internalized the belief that something was wrong with her. In the Brown family structure, wives were encouraged to self-reflect rather than question Kody's behavior. If intimacy felt cold or painful, the assumption was that the wife needed to grow spiritually, emotionally, or emotionally mature.
Christine tried. She tried being more agreeable. She tried being more cheerful. She tried being less needy. But nothing changed. What she did not know at the time was that Kody was capable of warmth, affection, and playful intimacy, just not with her. Chapter 3: The Thin Walls That Told the Truth. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of Christine's memoir is her description of overhearing Kody's interactions with Meri and Janelle through the thin walls of their Utah home. At night, when Christine lay alone or emotionally disconnected, she could hear something she never experienced herself. Laughter, conversation, ease, affection. Christine describes hearing her sister wives talk and play with Kody, enjoying his presence in a way that felt foreign to her own experience. The sounds carried not just through drywall, but through her sense of self. This is where comparison became unavoidable. Christine had believed her marriage was normal, within the context of plural marriage. She assumed intimacy was awkward for everyone. Hearing otherwise shattered that illusion. The realization was devastating. Kody was capable of tenderness. He simply did not choose to give it to her. Chapter 4: Sacred Nights, Stolen Privacy. Within plural marriage, privacy is treated as sacred. Each wife's time with the husband is meant to be her own, protected, respected, and emotionally safe. Christine's memoir exposes how fragile that idea truly was. Thin walls meant thin boundaries. Meri and Janelle likely believed their moments with Kody were private, intimate, and unseen. Christine now reveals that those moments were audible, sometimes painfully so. This revelation reframes the household dynamic entirely. Privacy in practice was an illusion. For Christine, this lack of separation compounded her suffering. She wasn't just lonely. She was surrounded by reminders of what she was missing. For Meri and Janelle, the knowledge that their intimacy was overheard may feel embarrassing, invasive, or unsettling. What was once believed to be a protected marital space now carries unintended witnesses. Chapter 5: Power, Preference, and Polygamy. Christine's experience highlights a fundamental issue within polygamy: unequal emotional investment. Plural marriage is often presented as a system of fairness: equal time, equal love, equal respect. Christine's story dismantles that narrative. Kody did not distribute emotional energy evenly. He chose where to show warmth, where to withdraw, and where to disengage entirely. Christine was not just one wife among many. She became the wife who felt unwanted. This imbalance created a hierarchy that was never openly acknowledged but deeply felt. Christine's pain was not accidental. It was structural. Chapter 6: Internalizing Blame. One of the most heartbreaking elements of Christine's memoir is how long she blamed herself. She believed her discomfort meant she was inadequate. She believed her sadness meant she lacked faith. She believed her jealousy meant she was spiritually weak. Instead of questioning why her husband withheld affection, Christine questioned her own worth. This self-blame kept her silent for years. Chapter 7: Performing Happiness for the Cameras. As Sister Wives gained popularity, Christine learned to perform joy. On screen she smiled. She laughed. She played the role of the bubbly, supportive third wife. Behind closed doors, the thin walls continued to echo. Reality television offered exposure but not truth. The cameras captured family gatherings and shared milestones, but they never captured Christine lying awake, listening to intimacy she never experienced herself. Her memoir fills in those missing moments. Chapter 8. The Arrival of Robyn and the Final Shift. While Christine's memoir focuses on earlier years, fans cannot ignore how the arrival of Robyn Brown intensified existing wounds. Robyn became the emotional center of Kody's world. Public affection, emotional devotion, and prioritized intimacy flowed freely. This time not just through walls but in plain sight. For Christine, the comparison became unavoidable. What once happened quietly behind thin walls now happened openly. Chapter 9. Leaving the marriage, reclaiming the self. Christine's decision to leave Kody was not sudden. It was the culmination of decades of emotional deprivation. Walking away meant confronting fear, religious conditioning, and public scrutiny. But it also meant reclaiming her body, her voice, and her right to emotional safety. Her memoir frames leaving not as failure, but as survival. Chapter 10. David Woolley and a New Definition of Love. Christine's relationship with David Woolley represents a complete reversal of her past. She describes David as present, attentive, and deeply affectionate. Where Kody withheld, David gives freely. This contrast is not meant to shame her past, but to illuminate what was missing. For the first time, Christine experiences intimacy without pain, without fear, and without comparison. Chapter 11. Rewriting the narrative of Sister Wives. Christine's memoir does more than tell her story. It challenges the mythology surrounding plural marriage. Her honesty forces viewers to reconsider what they accepted as normal for years. Thin walls, silent suffering, and unequal love were not anomalies. They were part of the structure. Christine's courage lies not just in leaving, but in telling the truth. Chapter 12. Why this story matters. Christine Brown Woolley's revelations resonate far beyond reality television. They speak to women silenced by religious expectation, partners who normalize emotional neglect, systems that prioritize hierarchy over humanity. Her story reminds readers that pain does not need to be loud to be real, and that sometimes the quietest nights leave the deepest scars. Conclusion. When walls can no longer contain the truth. The thin walls of Christine Brown's former home did more than carry sound. They carried truth. They revealed what was withheld. They exposed imbalance. They dismantled denial. In Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom, Christine finally tears those walls down. What remains is a woman who endured, awakened, and ultimately chose herself. Her story is not about bitterness. It is about clarity, and above all, it is about freedom.